it sounds like DaBaby is having a much bigger year than Young Ma. I mean, he seems to be a breakout star this year, huh?
I mean, definitely second album in 6 months.
And the first one gained a lot of attention. Did we review that? I think we did, right?
We didn't review Baby on Baby. I actually was a little late to it. Not till the obviously his big hit, breakout hit, Suge came out, and that's got like 200 million plus on Spotify already. That was, he catapulted it onto the XXL radar, acquitted himself pretty well in those ciphers and freestyles and whatnot. And honestly, I think all summer we've been talking about him just because he's been on a really strong feature run, like Stallion, Panini Remix, Enemies with Post Malone, Hot Summer, the Dreamville album. He's been everywhere all summer. He's been quite hot. And I think it's actually pretty smart to capitalize on that with dropping more stuff. So I think it makes sense.
So in comparison to Young M.A., this is a 35-minute album, not too long, but did it still have blow on it, Dave? Because I kind of left with was there's a lot to like on this, but a lot of it started to feel a little bit samey by the end. How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm of two minds where there's a lot I do like about him, and I think the production on this album is pretty great. We talk about trap beats a lot, usually in a negative fashion. We like to talk about albums that have something else on the trap beats, but these are just lots of really good trap beats. So I thought the production sounded good. Thing is, though, his Suge flow is all over this again, and that flow is pretty repetitive. I think because it's a little grating to hear. What sometimes he kind of, I feel like DaBaby falls into the Logic Eminem, let me cram syllables into each bar, even if it doesn't make sense rhythmically, doesn't really sonically sound that good. He just does it anyway. Sometimes it's fine, it's not a big deal. Other times I think it just kind of muddles the song. So I don't love that flow all the time. I actually been kind of curious what actually made people get so attracted to him. I think it's really more about the bravado he has, the confidence he exclaims, and ultimately he just makes a lot of fun records. But what I like most about the second album, Kirk, is that he does change that flow up on a few points, like iPhone, for example, a song that I think has a lot of radio potential. That's really fun. And I think he has more of a crossover flow on that. And then you have Nicki switch it up with like a classic double time flow. Her delivery is great as well. So when DaBaby's not just kind of doing his formulaic DaBaby shit, this stands out. But overall, I think he has a bit of a high floor on this just because, again, the production's pretty good. And he is such a confident guy. Like, he's clearly in command of what he's going for at this time. But that's maybe not as high a bar as he thinks it is.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you really listen in, a lot of the tracks in the middle, you hear kind of that theme of like DaBaby's he's a tough guy, like, and you shouldn't fuck with him, and that's well and good, and it's pretty fun to hear him like throughout these lines and throughout these barbs, and just it's fun to hear him rap over this trap music. But the interesting stuff to me is when it's something like Intro, where it's a little more introspective and thoughtful, and it sounds great, and you're like, there's like a lot here. It's actually almost like off-putting to hear him start there and then shift
Track
back
one.
to then like shift back to this what he's used to, because it's like, oh, there's a lot of potential in that first song for this album to be something a little bit more expansive or deeper for DaBaby. And then he's like, maybe next time. So I don't know. There's still a lot to like on this album. Don't get me wrong. Like you said, iPhone already on our Nowstalgia Best of 2019 playlist on Spotify, so check that out. But I thought his song Pop Star with Kevin Gates is really good.
Yep.
I even liked Raw Shit with Migos, even though I don't know if it's Migos' best performance. It still was pretty fun to listen to. So.
It's fun to enjoy a Migos song again, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I haven't listened to a Migos song in a while, I haven't had to listen to them. What other songs stood out to you?
The iPhone Intro for sure. Off the Rip, pretty cool. I actually like Gospel. I feel, again, him doing something a little different and molding in with Chance. I mean, YK Osiris, I could give or take, but he fits the song fine. That was pretty cool as well. Actually, on Toes, Little Baby and Moneybag Yo. I think that song just fine, but Moneybag Yo and other guys like Young Dolph, these other Southern rappers that kind of exist in that mainstream, down the line, current Atlanta standard bearing of rap these days. I definitely have DaBaby a step above all those guys. I think he's just a little more interesting, even if I think this flow can be cleaned up a little bit. And it was interesting, you mentioned he's a tough guy. He is notorious for getting in fights in real life and shit. Obviously, he knocked that dude out in the mall that was pressing him. And that just recently, apparently, his security knocked out a female fan at one of his performances. So I think he definitely lives what he preaches, both good and bad. So,
don't try him.
Yeah, he's capping off a banner year. And I mean, talk about an unexpected coming out of nowhere shot to stardom, So, I mean, good for him.
I was going to ask you, other than Megan Thee Stallion, is he the maybe biggest riser in rap this year?
Oh, yeah, there has to be those two.
Gotta be. I'm sure we'll probably be mentioning them on our wrap-up music pod this year, but what a year for him